All right, everybody. We're going to get
There he is.
started here. Hi, everyone. I apologize if I'm lagging a little bit. I'm on vacation in Nova Scotia at the moment. So apologies if I have to suddenly go off camera real quick. But my name is JG Decker. I am the conference specialist here at APAP. We're going to be talking about showcasing today. Just to start, like we always begin with, just to go over some rules with the Zoom function, and then some APAP notes. So first of all, I just want to welcome everyone. Um, I'll also state that APAP is housed on the unceded lands of the Anacostan, Piscataway, and Nipmuc peoples. Oh, sorry, no, that's Massachusetts, where I live. But the Anacostan and the Piscataway people of Washington, D.C., as it is known today. And on Zoom today, we'll have our staff and several of our conference committee members as well. For Zoom functions, I love to hear from everybody. I like to use the phrase that our board member Renee Niles uses, which is two before you. So if you find that yourself are talking quite a bit, I encourage you to maybe lean back a little bit and let others go forward, whether it's asking a question or answering a question. We welcome it all. And that also goes for the chat. Just put in the chat and then we'll stack it. Staff will see that and then we'll say, stack David Rao. Then we know that we'll go to David next, or Jerry, or Crandall, and what has you. So next, and then we're gonna have our attendees introduce themselves. I'm gonna start with David Rao, and then we'll move it on from there.
Good afternoon. Hi, folks. David Rowell from Dean College up in Massachusetts.
And then just because they're on my screen, we're gonna go with Jerry.
Hi, Jerry Abrahamson, DCA Productions. Um, and welcome everybody. Looking forward to the conference.
Next, Crandall.
Hi, my name is Crandall Rogers. I'm the owner of a company called Four Mortals Productions, which is a showcase production company, and I am the sort of ad hoc showcase coordinator for APAP, and I also am really looking forward to the conference.
How about we do Robbie next?
Robbie Otley, Programs Consultant.
And then we'll do Chris Kaminsky.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Kaminsky with ECE Touring in Richmond, Virginia. I'm one of the APAP conference co-chairs.
And then we have two last staff members that we'll introduce, but I invite everybody else to put their introductions in the chat, where you're from, and that last two folks are going to be Keisha and Ashayla. So Keisha first.
Hi everyone, Keisha Shorter. I'm a part of the membership and conference experience team. I work with Sue in the membership department. Welcome.
And then Ashayla.
Hi everyone, my name's Ashayla. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm the conference production associate, also in the membership and conference experience team.
Perfect. Awesome. And then we can move on to the next slide, as it were. We can move on again to the next slide. Not here as Sue Noseworthy, who is our membership director. Um, oh my gosh, I forgot about Neo. Neo, would you like to introduce yourself very quickly? I'm sorry. I'm on vacation brain, y'all.
Thank you, JG. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be with you all. I am Neo Nonwork Madison, the COO for APAP, and I've worked with the conference team and glad to be here with you all this afternoon. Our agenda for today is we will hear a bit about what APAP NYC is, who APAP NYC is for, and we're going to talk about showcasing at APAP NYC. Then we'll get to the meat of our session today, which is our peer panel, and we will hear from members of our conference committee and members of the field that participate in showcasing at the conference. And then we will move into Q&A, followed by next steps. Next slide, please, Robbie. What is APAP NYC? And next slide. Again. APAP NYC is the world's largest gathering of the performing arts presenting, booking, and touring industry. It's our annual members conference for the Association of Performing Arts Professionals. And this upcoming conference will be taking place January 9th through the 13th at the New York Hilton, Midtown, and across New York City. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. And I'd also like to give a welcome to our conference committees, first starting with our co-chairs, and some of them you will hear from today. We have 6 co-chairs, and I'd like to give a welcome to Chisa Yamaguchi, Laura Sweet, Mark Wilson, Sarah Hagg, Chris Kaminsky, and Aaron Shackelford. Next slide, please. In addition to the conference co-chairs, we have a committee comprised of members of the field representing every discipline in the field. And we are so thankful to have the committee working with us to shape your conference experience. So again, thank you and welcome to our conference committee. Next slide, please. And APAP NYC, the key core elements of our conference are networking and special interest groups. We have over 1,000 showcases that happen within the New York Hilton Midtown and across New York City at different venues. There's professional development as a key element of the conference. And we have almost 60,000 square feet of exhibit space at the Hilton with our 3 floors of exhibiting space. And we have opportunities to see new work and artist discovery, which includes Up Next and 5 Minutes to Shine. And we also have opportunities for mentoring both before the conference and during the conference. And we have APAP honors returning again this year as we highlight excellence in the field. Next slide, please. And now I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Shayla, to briefly discuss who APAP NYC is for.
Thanks, Neo. And for anyone who missed it, I am Shayla Bird. I'm the Conference Production Associate here at APAP, and I'm part of the Membership and Conference Experience team. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to be able to join together and see people's face. And for those who are already registered or planning to register for conference, we are looking forward to seeing you in New York in January. This section of the webinar is just an opportunity to share a little bit of information about who attends APAP NYC and who you will meet when you're there, as well as what to kind of expect when you're experiencing the conference. So APAP NYC is convening for arts professionals currently working in or aspiring to work in the performing arts, presenting, booking, and touring field. Our attendees represent all the genres and disciplines of the arts and come from across all 50 states, as well as approximately 31 different countries. So we also have a lot of international representation. So you will meet and interact with performing arts workers from all over the world, and that's one of the key enticing kind of opportunities for those who attend the conference from year to year. Just to give a little bit more information about the demographic for those who will be there, about 47% of our attendees are presenters. And so by presenters, we mean people who staff venues specifically, stages or festivals, and put artists on their stages and pay artist fees. So not necessarily someone who is an artist that presents work, but someone who works at a presenting venue. Sometimes that can get a little tricky for first-time folks coming into our world. We will have 13% artists, so people doing the art, doing the thing, and 26% agent managers and 14% other, so just other arts professionals, which could be producers, consultants, students, and other professionals that are working in our field. It is also important for me to know the kind of types of professionals who attend the event. And it's not exclusively executives, programmers, and senior leadership, although that's a big kind of chunk of our attendance. We also have staff from marketing departments, box office, communications, development, and community engagement. So it's likely that you'll meet people from similar staff positions if you're working with a particular organization or venue that might have roles similar to yours, and that's just another way to network and share experiences. As we have shared, APAP is a members only conference, so in order to be able to attend, you or your organization or company would need to join APAP as a member before you can register for the conference. And the good thing about that is APAP has a lot of different membership categories depending on what your goals are for being involved in APAP, as well as the work that you already do. And so we have the categories and membership rates that fit into all types of arts workers and the varying budgets that people might have. So if you take a look at the membership tab on APAP's website, you can definitely reach out to any one of those of us in the membership or conference experience team, particularly myself, Keisha Shorter, who is the membership specialist, or Sue Noseworthy, who is the senior manager of conference and membership experience. And we'd be happy to help you with that. And you can reach us also at info@apap365, and I'll drop that in the chat just so you have it, and someone will reach out to you to address your questions. We can go to the next slide, please. And sorry if you see me looking over, it's because my cats have chosen that now is the time they want to start getting into everything they're not supposed to be getting into. So we at APAP have made a number of efforts to ensure that conference is accessible to everyone, regardless of their needs, to make sure that it's an experience that is as comfortable for them as possible. So we have a number of services available to make sure that everyone can participate fully in the event. And like I said, we want our conference to be as accessible as possible to everyone. And of course, there's always more work to do, but for now, this is what we can start with. Relationship-based approach in the practice that we have created and in our various spaces. And so the offerings this year, which are listed kind of on the slide, if you can see it, but I'll read out a few, is that we'll have on-site accessibility support available during conference and exhibit hall hours. There will be accessible signage, accessible spaces for wheelchair users and other mobility needs, and we'll also be offering water in every on-site room space, as well as stimulus-free quiet spaces. And there will be lactation and nursing pods available, and we'll also have gender-inclusive, wheelchair-accessible companion restrooms that will be available. And there will also be captioning for all sessions in ASL for the larger primary sessions that we have. And we'll also provide individualized assistance and coordination upon request. So you can just reach out to us directly and make sure that you get those needs met. And we can go to the next slide, please. So another feature that we're going to have available again this year on our website, which is apap365.org, is this little red icon that you see that has the little cute hat in there. It'll be on the bottom of the screen on many of our website pages. If you click on that icon, you'll be able to see that it provides different ways to help make the website itself more accessible and include a variety of different ways you can make apap365.org more friendly for your specific needs. A few examples of that would be adjustments for those with color blindness, visual impairment, MS and other visual impairments as can be listed. And we just want to make sure that from the beginning of your conference experience all the way to the end, your experience can be improved as much as possible. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do that without our incredible marketing and communications team. Specifically, it's a team of two, but Jenny Thomas and Grace Asuncion. So thank you both for making our website more inclusive and accessible. And that is the end of my portion of it. I will now return the mantle to who will be presenting next.
Thank you so much, Shayla. We can move on to the next slide. All right, folks, I'm going to go over some showcasing tidbits as they are required at APAP. So, who can do this? Only current members who registers as attendees can attend showcases at APAP. That can submit showcase listings. Current members and registered attendees can attend showcases at APAP as well, whether that's on-site or off-site. However, each of those will have very specific rules, which we'll get into a little bit later when we start actually uploading that. Artists are not required to register for APAP in order to, required to register for APAP in order to participate in a showcase, as long as they have a representative at APAP or some other method, whether, if you have a band leader who's attending APAP or you have an agent, that works fine. But if you as a band member are just coming to do the showcase listing, that's all you need to do. You don't need to be registered in order for that to happen, but one person at least attached to you in some fashion needs to be registered for the conference in order to upload a showcase listing. Which, is, yeah, sorry. APAP does not produce showcases, so we work with a series of showcase producers. Some of them are represented on this call. The main one being Crandall Rogers, who oversees all of showcasing inside of our venue, the Hilton. Otherwise, you'll be working with outside the Hilton showcase producers, and these might be at venues across the city, such as Don't Tell Mama, Joe's Pub. If you're doing dance, the New York City Center is a great space. Folks over at Theater Row are a wonderful resource, and you can reach out to us at any time to get that listing. Next slide, please. And I'll just note that all of our showcases are independent. So again, APAP does not directly produce showcasings, and we don't get too involved in the minutia of it. But there are specific dates that you do need to be in mind as they do relate to APAP and when we need to have things listed. So our first round of showcase listings will be published just before American Thanksgiving on November 19th, and then we'll kind of keep doing it up until then. The deadline, however, is January 5th. Once we get to January 5th, APAP staff are on site, and it becomes a little bit harder for us to be able to assist with edits or uploading showcase listings. So between November 19th to January 5th, you'll need to have your showcase listings uploaded. I will say that we can help with some issues on site, but don't rely on that. Let that be the absolute last, like, oh no, something bad has happened and we need to change something, last resort. And we can move on to the next slide. And so the way that showcases will be uploaded is that I will send to everybody that has registered for the conference indicates whether they would like to produce a showcase or attempt to buy a listing. This is presented to folks that are agents or artists, and then they are given the choice to purchase that. We can go in at any time and edit your registration and change that to add showcase listings to you. So you can just, again, send us a message. I'll give you an email for that at the end. But those folks are sent a link. It is a simple little form link where you get to upload your showcase listings. APAP goes quite minute into this, so we'll ask you all sorts of questions beyond just like the time and what's the name and the image for this. We'll go even more in depth about thinking about the spaces that we're using. If you're on site, you maybe don't have to think about the accessibility piece of it so much because we have a wonderful team working to ensure that. But if you're off site, you know, New York is an older city, and while many spaces are great and accessible, we ask questions about accessibility and who might be the contact for that. So we ask a lot of questions about that so that we can upload as much information about showcase listings from you know the genre to the booking fee to who you actually contact to where you can find them in the expo hall or you know what have you. Um, so that's very important. You'll want to stand out from the crowd with advertising and sponsorship opportunities. That's also available to folks. If you would like to learn more about that, you can send us a message as well. The biggest thing that you're going to use to promoting your showcase, however, is going to be the attendee list. So we just started sending that out last week. We'll send another round this week. And this is really like the gold mine of everything. I think that this is what is truly what makes APAP worth it, is that list of folks. And so this is going to list everybody that comes to the conference, whether they're an artist, an agent, a presenter, whomever have you. And I go quite hard on this. You'll notice that we have about 10 different tabs, and it'll go from everybody that's registered to who is registered from the last list, to who's a presenter and an artist and an agent and a vendor and what have you, where their geographic location is. And then we ask a series of questions. Many of you might have already been registered. You might have thought that is a long registration. And you're right, it was long because we asked a lot of questions about what are you specifically looking for? If you're an artist or an agent, what type of work do you do? If you're a presenter, what type of work are you looking for? Do you have certain fees that you have to stay within? Do you have a specific space that works best with this type of show? So we ask a lot of those questions so that you can use that information to make better decisions for you, whether you're booking work or whether you're trying to get booked. So please, please use the list. And most importantly, please don't spam the list. Nothing is more frustrating than getting a message or a call or something from someone. Well, you might have something really interesting to say. You might have a really great show. It may not work. If you have, you know, a theater show and it's one person show, that's great, but maybe you should be messaging a dance presenter who's only going to be looking at dance. Or they may not have the type of space that you're looking for it. If you are doing dance, you know, some spaces can't accommodate dance in the way that we think of it. So those are really important. Like really mind the list and get very minute. No, don't blast the list. Very, very important. Because nothing will turn folks off from going to a showcase than just having it incessantly put in your face without regard to who they are and what might work for their space. Because $10 is a lot, which is what the showcase listing costs. And you want to promote it well. Our showcase listings are a 1-for-1. So one showcase listing at $10 gets you one listing on the site, or one performance, will you? If you plan on doing 2, 3, or 4 performances of your specific showcase, whether they're the same one or they're different ones, you'll want to purchase that many number of showcases. So if you're doing, you know, 2 nights of a one-woman show and then you have 2 nights of a dance piece, then you'll have to have 4 showcase listings. That goes for agents, that goes for artists, that goes for whomever who is performing. And we can move on to the next slide. Here's some images. All right, perfect. We're going to turn this over to our peer panel. I think Neo just came on screen if they wanted to jump on with anything. Otherwise, we can introduce our panel, which is Chris Kaminsky, the Senior Managing Partner of ECE Touring, Randall Rogers, our lead showcase producer at the Hilton of Four Mortals Productions, David Rowell, Associate Professor and Program Coordinator at the Arts and Entertainment Management Program at Dean College.
Thank you so much, JG. And as a reminder, once we hear from our experts, and we will open the floor for Q&A, and JG and the team will be here to answer questions that may come up. So again, I'd like to welcome our peer panel. And I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves. And as you do so, again, please share why you attend APAP NYC and how you participate in showcasing at the conference to get us started.
Okay, I'll start. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Kaminsky, Senior Managing Partner with ECE Touring. We're a division of East Coast Entertainment. We've been attending APAP for over 25 years. We are a variety agency. We represent comedy, tribute shows. We also represent original music, theatrical productions. We have represented dance in the past. So a little bit of everything. And I know that there are some other companies here like DCA who are similar in the types of artists they represent. So we really love APAP because it is the national conference. It gives us the opportunity to showcase our artists. In the Hilton, we've also done offsite showcasing. JG just referenced some of the venues that are outside of the Hilton. We've worked with Crandall for all of these 25 plus years, so have a lot of experience working with her. But it's a fantastic conference to get to network with presenters, talk about upcoming seasons, and just continue to expand the possibilities for our artists, which is ultimately who we work for, but also gives us the opportunity to experience a lot of the professional development sessions and continue to sharpen our tools and our toolkit as agents and managers. And so that's my take.
I'll go next. Hi, folks. I'm David Rowell. I'm with Dean College. I have been, this will be my 28th APAP this year. And I am representative of the presenting side of the world in the sense of I've been a presenter for many, many years. And for me, showcases are the opportunity to see different artists, to explore, to look at artists that I might not know or have not seen personally before and get the chance to get a taste of them and see if this is something that would fit with what I'm programming or if this is something that looks interesting. And I encourage people, my students, for example, when we go to showcasing, understand that it's also part of the long game. You might see somebody in a showcase that is outstanding, and it's not necessarily the right fit for your organization as a presenter right now, but it might be later on. And so I showcasing is a big part of the conference for me because it allows me these opportunities. It also is a networking opportunity, the chance to reconnect with people that I know or to meet new people, whether they're artists, whether they're managers, and continue to do what, in my opinion, is one of the most important things about the conference, which is building relationships, and which is so crucial to what our business is all about. And we'll talk about do's and don'ts and all that kind of stuff. Understand that showcasing is crucial and it's great and it can be enjoyable and can be fun. There is no human way possible you can go to every showcase as a presenter. Just don't try. We'll talk about that further. But the fact is that take advantage of it because this is the chance to get some to hear something, to see something that you may not have seen before and might go, hey, I like this. This works. So, okay, I'm going to shut up and turn it to Crandall. Crandall, you're muted.
There we go. I am the head of an organization called Four Mortals Production, which is our market's only dedicated showcase production company. We produce showcases at conferences all different conferences all over the country. I have been producing showcases at APAP for, I believe this is my 28th year. I've been going to APAP for I believe, 30 years now. And at APAP, um, I do have the role of being the showcase coordinator. I am a showcase producer, but I am very lucky and very honored to work alongside 7 or 8 other showcase producers who work within the building. And my over umbrella role with APAP as a showcase coordinator has a lot to do with dealing with very minute logistics, with dealing with the hotel, dealing with the unions, dealing with scheduling and the making sure that rooms are set up correctly and all of that kind of thing, which I do on behalf of the other 8 or 9 producers that are in the building. But all of us are independent producers. We all do run our own rooms. I do phone calls with a lot of new people, kind of talking about the hows and whys of APAP and the hows and whys of showcasing. I'm always available for anybody who's got any questions about showcasing or, how to make the most out of your showcasing at APAP or anything like that. But, there is a group of us that are producers. We are here for the most part to make sure that your showcasing experience at APAP is the best that it can be, and the easiest that it can be. I will top that off by saying showcasing is, let's just call it what it is. Showcasing is not easy. It is not an easy thing to do. It is not a Willy Wonka golden ticket to 100 presenters are going to buy your show. It is hard on the artist. It is a lot of work for the agents that go along with those artists. It is hard on the presenters who are just by the halfway through the conference, just schizophrenic with running from room to room and what they've seen and trying to keep it, in their minds. So, for showcasing artists, one of the tips that I like to give is remember that to you, understandably, your show is absolutely one of a kind. It's its identity solidly, who you are solidly, what you do solidly. Remember that the presenters that you're going to be meeting and dealing with, you are going to be one of 100 or 200 or 300 artists that they have been exposed to. So when we talk some more about some of the minutia, it's good to remember that everybody doesn't know you as your artist and your show the way that you do, and that they're going to be inundated with info. Also, I'll say it before anybody else says it. Coming to APAP for the weekend, it's a lot. It's just a whole lot. And especially if you're new, it's massive sensory overload. It's massive information overload. It is also exhilarating and exciting and fun, but it is a couple 4-day period that you got to come into ready to come in. Comfortable shoes, hydrate, don't forget to eat, and a little hint that I tell people, I know this is old school. I know 90 million people want to do everything on the computer. Buy yourself a little notebook, one of those little old-fashioned notebooks, and keep it in your purse or your pocket or whatever. Do all your stuff pre-APAP. At least make yourself a goals list, a checklist, or whatever in that little notebook. Keep it with you. Use it as you go around. You're gonna meet somebody in the elevator. You're going to meet someone in the coffee line downstairs in the lobby. Have that little notebook with you so you can always, everybody in our world does not want to kiss your phone with their phone to get something or scan your little QR code or let's be friends on Facebook or whatever. In a lot of ways, sometimes some of the old school ways can be really helpful at APAP because it is a lot to manage.
Can I jump on that with you, Crandall, for a second and also say, folks, business cards. And some
Yep.
people will say,
Yep.
you don't need them. Most people will
Yep.
say, yes,
Yeah,
you
you do. You do.
You do need them. And the fact is that having them to be able to give to somebody and getting a business card from somebody. And then the other trick, some folks will laugh. I learned this trick, amazingly enough, from a comedian by the name of George Carlin, who taught me one time when I was working his show that when he would meet somebody, he would write notes down about the
Hmm.
person on the back of their business card or
Yep.
in his little notebook, so that when he went back to a venue, he'd walk in and he'd know everybody's name. And I said to him, I said, you do 300 dates a year. How do you do this? And he explained and how he wrote things down on business cards and in his notebook and kept that and referred to it. Again, this is all part of building relationships.
And I'll just add to what David said and just kind of cap mine off with saying, because you hit something with what you said about Carlin there. So when you're at APAP, have and give yourself, and most importantly, everyone else grace. Have grace. You may meet somebody Friday afternoon in the coffee line and whatever, and then you may see them again Sunday morning, and maybe they don't remember who you are. Like maybe they don't at first glance remember who you are because they have met 295 people since they met you in the coffee line. In terms of showcasing, when you are working in a showcase room and working as a showcasing artist, please remember, David just said George Carlin does 300 shows a year. In some of the rooms at APAP, the production team you're working with, the people that you're working with are going to do, they're going to do 125 or something showcases in a 3-day period. And for somebody who works or is involved with in some way more than one room, they may do George Carlin's 300 in the 4 days of APAP. And an agent like Chris or Jerry, they're at APAP, they have showcasing artists, they have whatever. They might have 7, 8 showcasing artists, but they've got a roster, maybe of some people have a roster of 4, some people have a roster of 30. So everybody is trying to manage a whole bunch of different pieces of things during the course of this conference. Just keep in your mind grace. Just give yourself grace, give everyone else grace. Everybody at APAP is doing the best they can. They're trying to do everything the best they can, but we are humans. Our brains do have limitations for like when they start getting full up. That's just a kind of side note for everybody to remember.
Thank you, Crandall. And
Yeah,
actually, before we go on,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, thank you, Chris. Before we go on, to round out introductions, I would like to introduce Lisa.
Oh, yay.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you here, getting involved in these discussions. Showcasing is a big part of what we do for the APAP conference. It's very important. I want to welcome everyone. I want to thank you for sticking with us. Those of you who've been with us for many years, those of you who are new, welcome. You are in good hands with this crew right here. I can tell you myself, we have worked through many opportunities and challenges over the years to get us to continue to do what we do. And I'm very happy to see all of them on the screen. Thank you to our showcase producers for your untiring support and participation. We truly appreciate it. And I also just want to acknowledge the staff of APAP who are working very tirelessly under the surface. The iceberg is here, and then there's all this stuff going on. So it's October and we're right in the middle of it, but I don't want to take up any time. I just wanted to let you know I'm here. I will try to stay on and listen as best I can. But just happy to see you all and thank you for your participation and support of APAP. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And before we go into our next round of questions, Chris, I think you had a comment.
Well, I was just going to mention, JG hit on it at the beginning, talking about the attendee list and segmenting out that list. And it's not something that we can gloss over. And he didn't gloss over it. I'm just saying that if you are new or newer to this conference, that you get that attendee list and you think, oh my gosh, it's like, I mean, like the sunbeams are coming down. It just is like all this wealth of information. It is so, so, so important for you, if you are an artist or an artist manager, please do not send it to all the agents on the list. If you're sending it out to presenters, please make sure you're sending it to appropriate presenters. If you are brand new to
Yep.
this field and you're not selling out 3,500 seat rooms, don't send it potentially to those vendors, to those presenters. If you are a jazz act and you see a presenter on the thing that all they present is dance, or all they present is classical music or symphony or comedians, you're not the right act for them. Please
Yep.
take them, delete them off your mailing list, curate your list. Because what happens is when you don't do that, and we, a lot of people are guilty of it. We've been guilty of it years ago, I'm sure, when email was new and we're like, oh yay, this new toy. It is, what happens is everybody gets so spammed that presenters, when they start registering for the conference, they start withholding their contact info. They
Yep.
withhold their phone numbers, they withhold their email addresses. And then that takes a lot of extra work to figure out how to get in touch with them. So really, really, really be smart about who you're sending it to. And if you are new, like Crandall said, you've got this notebook, you want to set some goals, try to set a manageable goal list of, you're not going to meet 400 presenters in the course of the conference. If it's your first time or your first or second time, try to meet some people who you really think your show is going to fit and do your best to make some appointments with them, but try to keep it sort of reasonable because this is very much a long game. You cannot come to one APAP and expect that you're going to back the Brinks truck up and go home. It is, if you're investing in this year, you need to plan on investing next year and the year after that. That's kind of how it's cumulative. Your exposure to this market and to the presenters is a cumulative effort over several years. So just
And
kind of keep that in mind so that you don't you have a kind of a fixed way of going about reaching the presenters who are appropriate for your show or your roster.
And Chris is so right, folks, because the long game is crucial. And you might, you're building relationships, you're looking at this, but like I look at it from a presenter standpoint, I see an artist that showcase. I'll give you a perfect example. I saw an artist years ago at a showcase in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was a solo artist, a guy named Robert Post, who did a one-man show at the time called The Postman Cometh. And I loved it. It was amazing. It was funny. It was timely. But I was in a 1,700 seat venue with a 63-foot proscenium opening. And this one person show would have gotten lost on that stage. But 3 years later, when I moved into an 800 seat intimate theater, he was the first show I booked because I remembered it from the showcase. So understand from an artist standpoint, it's the long game. From an agent manager standpoint, it's the long game. From a presenter standpoint, it's the long game.
Thank you. Crandall, you have a raised hand, please, go ahead. Oh, you're muted.
This thing. So yeah, just really like kind of succinctly, many of the people that I talk to come to me knowing nothing about APAP. And one of the things that we talk about is APAP, particularly for anybody, but particularly if you're new, is really all about managing expectations. You can go to APAP and you can have a mind-blowingly excellent time. Or you can go to APAP and go home thinking, this was the biggest mistake I ever made and I shouldn't have spent the money. And much of that is about managing your own expectations and figuring out how you are going to APAP, using APAP as a verb. Like, how are you going to APAP? What does your individual APAP look like? And one of the first things that I recommend to people is that you sit down and do some soul searching and you take a piece of paper and a pencil and make an old-fashioned list. Define what you want your APAP to look like in the best case scenario. Is it about starting conversations? Is it about getting bookings? Is it about building relationships? What are the goals that you have for yourself that if you went home having achieved 75% of those goals, you would feel really good? And if you are looking at showcasing as an artist, think about things like, this is a super oversimplified explanation, but you have a great music act, you're from the Northeast, you have a pretty good booking reach in the Northeast, right? Say you don't have much booking reach in the South or the Midwest. Maybe your goal for your first APAP is, I want to try to open doors and start conversations in the Midwest, an area that I have never been to. Then you take that list, you go through, you identify Midwest presenters, then you go through and literally go look at websites, look at presenters' websites, read their seasons, look at what they had last year, look at the kind of thing they book. Pick yourself a group of 25 or 30 or 40 venues that you're like, these are my wish list. These are the people that if I went home having opened a conversation with, I would feel super successful. Because when it all comes down to what you're going to use as your litmus test as a showcasing artist, you're going to base your experience largely on who's in the room when you do your showcase. And if you go into that room thinking, well, there are 1,000 presenters here, and I might have 300 in my showcase, the reality is there are not 1,000 for you. For any one act, there are not 1,000. For any one act, there is a small segmented group because of a number of factors. If your list that you're thinking about is 40 people and you're really hoping those 40 come to your showcase and 25 of them come, you're going to go home being like, oh my God, I did such a great, like, I feel so good. Almost all the people I invited came to my showcase. So that making yourself those goals, realistic goals, and get really focused and really targeted on what is going to make your APAP experience work for you and good for you. If you do that work beforehand, it is work. It is work to go through the list. It is work to visit websites. But if you do that, your experience is going to be so good. And all of us on this call, we're not trying to sell you a bill of goods so you'll come this year. We're hoping that what we're doing is inviting you into the APAP community, and you're going to come this year and next year and the year after that and the year after that. We want you to have a good conference. Focus, target, set your own personal goals. It will make a world of difference for your conference.
I'm going to jump in
Thank
real
you.
quick on Crandall with that and just also encourage people as you are preparing for the conference. If you have questions, reach out to any of us. You know, we're all willing to mentor. We're all willing to answer questions. And the more prepared you are coming into it, the stronger your experience is going to be. And that's going to be preparing to also gather information, collect information. But as a presenter, I'm going to tell you, you need to make sure you have information also. You need to know, as a presenter, if I'm going to go to showcases, I need to be prepared to say to the booking agent or the artist, they ask me questions, I need to be able to talk about my venue. How many seats? What's the capacity? What's the capabilities? And anything like that. So you need to know your information also to share that information as you gather and collect information. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit later, but things like riders and program information and everything else. But I think Crandall was so correct in the fact that the more work you can do to prepare, the better your experience will be at the conference.
Thank you, everyone. So we've been getting into this a bit, and I'm going to ask you all to go deeper into your reflecting on your experience with APAP and talk about a memorable experience that might be helpful for someone that is completely new coming into the conference. And so as Crandall has shared, it is a long game, but thinking about some of those opportunities or experiences early on that might be beneficial for someone who is just joining the community.
Don't be afraid to walk into a showcase room.
Nope.
I got to be honest, my first year at APAP, which was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I remember I was afraid to go into showcase rooms because I was afraid it would be perceived that I was interested in these artists, and I wasn't sure if I was interested in the artists. So I didn't want to make it look like I was intrigued. But then what I discovered was that it was more about being able to go in and just listen and experience it. And I discovered one thing that I think is crucial is for artists also go to showcases.
Yep.
Go to other people's showcases. Go
Yep.
listen to and see go look at what other people are doing. I think it's important for dancers to go look at other dance companies and see what the work is that they're doing. I think it's crucial to go look at musicians. I got to be honest, I had a wonderful experience last year at APAP. I went to see a showcase because my friend Gail Boyd, who is here on this call, had an artist that she was showcasing, an actor by the name of Keith David. And I had seen him for years on television and all kinds of stuff like that. But he was doing a showcase of jazz music. And I walked in and sat down and I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. I know this guy. I've seen him on television. I've seen him in movies. And he proceeded to start singing and he blew me away. He absolutely blew me away. And I was like, oh my God. And that's when I wished I was I wished I was presenting because I was like, I'll book him now. And it was just a case of I went in because he was Gail's artist and I wanted to support her. And I walked out of there a complete fan and going, okay, if I start presenting again, I'm booking him. So you never know what you're going to find, and be open to that and be aware. And when you go into a room, if it's something that you're really, really interested in, okay, and sit. But if the room's really, really busy and there are not a lot of seats, stand in the back or on the side or take and be willing to give that seat up to somebody who might be more inclined to book the artist than you are because it fits better with their series or their time. So just be cognizant of who and what are in the room. There you go.
For anybody in the arts business, let's be real. APAP is a Christmas tree with 10 million presents underneath it. If you are just somebody who loves the arts, oh my God, like you're gonna get spine tingled. You can get blown away. You can laugh. You can cry. You can want to get up and dance. You can David's right. Whoever you are, don't lose in all of the conference. Don't lose the amazing opportunity you have to immerse yourself in art for 4 days, 3 days, to see so many different things that maybe you would never buy a ticket to. Maybe it would never come to your venue, but don't get lost in the fact that all of the business, you got to pay attention to the business. You got to do what you got to do. But oh my God, the wealth of just magic that you will find during this time is just, it's like nothing else. It's like nothing else. There is nothing else like it. It's just a time to revel in people who just do what they do so incredibly beautifully. Like that is the best part about APAP is just the beauty that pervades the building from start to finish.
Thank you. Gail, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Gail.
You were asking earlier about some experiences, and as an APAP showcase producer for the last, I don't know how many years now, a long time, I find that what David said is absolutely right. People, I think you should come to all the showcases. I'm sort of known as the jazz showcase room in a way, and thank goodness for that because people who are looking for jazz know to come to my room. And Keith David is a perfect example. I mean, he came in, he's a famous actor, but nobody knew that he had jazz chops. And I walked out of there with like 5 dates for him. And he was so excited. I mean, he was like, really? They want me just as a regular old jazz singer? I don't have to act, I don't have to do anything. So it is good. Go into other rooms. Crandall, who is my guru, told me and Karen Kennedy about another act that was showcasing in an entirely different room. And she said to both of us, if you get a chance, go and see this group. I think you would love them. I had my own room at the time, but I sneaked away and I saw this group. And a completely different time, Karen sneaked away and saw them. And now we both co-manage that group because of Crandall's invitation for us to come and hear them. So that kind of thing happens. But if you're brand new, I will say, I've been a member of APAP since 1991. And the first time I had a booth, nobody came by the booth. Not one single person. I was there the whole time. Nobody came. Nobody even said hello. And finally, at the end of the last day, a man came. I don't remember his name now. And he asked me who I was, and I found out who he was. And I told him, I said, I've been here for 3 days. Nobody has come to even say hello. And he said, is this your first time? And I said, yes. He said, so give it 3 years. You got to come and go back 2 and 3 times before people will take you seriously. So if your first time, know that you might not get all the results you want. You have to manage your expectations. But after a while, now I've already sold out all my rooms. I mean, I haven't collected money for them yet, but I have commitments for every single room for APAP for the showcase in October. And I know people are going to be coming in the room. So it takes a minute, but it does happen. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for that reminder, Gail. Joe, hi.
Hi, thank you. Just real quick, thank you again, Crandall, for the very in-depth and incredibly helpful conversation yesterday. I hung up the phone with my head swimming and completely full, and I hope I'm able to retain some of it. But a quick follow-up question to what we were talking about yesterday. Hi, everyone. I'm the head of Odd Europa Records. I'll be presenting several of my artists at APAP this year. It looks like a smart thing to consider being some on-site, some off-site. Does that go through you, or is it smart to figure out who's going to be on-site and then try to figure out places for the off-site people to be? Go ahead, sorry.
So when you're doing on-site, off-site, think logistically and scheduling. Okay. So it's going to be harder for you maybe to get those off-site placements. For the on-site people, we need to know when your off-site placements are to appropriately schedule you for your on-site placements. It may impact your availability of night. It might impact when you can showcase. It might impact or sound check. There's many things. So if you're going to try to do that on off, I mean, there are many ways of looking at it. Some people say do your on-site first because you can pitch your off-site and then people might come to the off-site. Some people might say the opposite. But what that's really about is logistics and how do you make them all work together, because you also have to go to all of them. So you don't want a showcase that ends at 9:05 on site and one that begins at 9:30 off site, because what if it's snowing? What if there's traffic? What if, you lose, what if you can't find a cab? I don't know, those kind of things. So that logistically, if I were you, I would investigate offsite first. You already are on the list to receive the info about onsite, right? And we've already talked about some ways in which you could utilize onsite. I think you need to investigate those offsite because they may build parameters that the on-site showcases have to work with. You could alternately say, I'm going to pick my on-site, but the chance that you're going to get an off-site venue to work around your on-site schedule is pretty non-existent. We, as the on-site producers, are more flexible probably than the off-site ones are.
Thank you for that, Crandall. Mojo, I don't see you anymore. Did you take your hand down? Did you still have a comment?
Well, I was going to add to some of the wonderful things that come out of showcasing and share this with everyone. Our institutional memory is so valuable. I've been attending APAP for about a quarter century. And I've been producing showcases about 24 years, 25 years. But I also perform in those showcases. I produced on-site and off-site. The greatest rewards are the following generations and the previous generations when they come to performing arts for the first time. Our room has had multiple Grammy winners in it, and people who broke their career just starting by showcasing at APAP have become Grammy winners. It's been wonderful to network and then share what we do when we produce. The feeling is phenomenal when young performers come in my showcase room in particular, because that's all I can speak about. They come in and they showcase, and now they are showcase producers. They learn the craft and they're producing showcases as well at APAP and other conferences. So the long game, as David Rawl said, of building networks and relationships and using showcasing to build your career is the main focus when you come to APAP.
Neo, you asked about those memorable experiences. And I have to say, for me, I mean, that magic I was talking about is the memorable experience for me. And the incredible relationship that gets built over time between people. For me, I have people that I showcased the very first time they ever came to APAP. They barely had an act. They were just starting out, etc. And, now those people are booking however many dates a year in the performing arts market. And many, many other people know how wonderful they are besides me. And I've watched that progression happen with so many artists, and they have grown. They've grown through the years. It's a wonderful thing to watch. But the one thing I always say to people, that I say to people a lot, many, many years ago, and I don't know how many years ago it was, I was incredibly lucky and honored to have the agent that represented Roger McGuinn asked to showcase him in my room. And we did, which is rare, but I mean, we did a very closed sound check for Roger, and there was only a very few of us in the room. And he did a solo show, and he just got up on the stage, and he had his Rick and he had his guitars. And I was just standing against the wall, leaning and watching, maybe 10 feet from where Roger was on the stage. And I will never, never forget this moment, like ever. And Roger started playing the opening chords to Turn, Turn, Turn. And the hair on my arms stood on end. And I had this completely surreal moment that was like, I cannot believe that I am standing 10 feet from Roger McGuinn playing Turn, 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 basically right to me in this little room. It was a moment that defined for me what the potential of the wonder of showcasing at something like APAP could be. When would I ever have had a chance to stand in a room with Roger McGuinn singing Turn, Turn, Turn to three of us? You know, those are the little moments that can happen. And that's memorable experience for me. It's those kind of moments. It's, you know, it's those things.
Thank you, Crandall. Okay, so we have a few questions in the chat. I'm going to jump around a bit. I'm going to go to Ivan first, and then to Jerry, and then to Quincy.
Ivan Segodia, I'm an old hand, a very old hand, but I'm rather dance specific, even though some of the things I've learned I think are generalizable. It's important. It's too easy for young artists, eager young artists, to think that showcasing is going to be the magic key, visibility and success. Just as there are many kinds of wonderful work that do not videotape well, there are many kinds of work that do not showcase well, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the work or the performers. I've been working for almost 50 years with Aiko and Coma and now Aiko. She's had a fabulous career, MacArthur Grant, all that kind of stuff. She's at BAM next week, which is the North Star for many artists. In 50 years, they have never showcased at any conference whatsoever. It would have destroyed the career. The work is so anti-energy for what works in a busy showcase situation. So the artist should look at their work and not make the easiest, quickest assumption that I should showcase. Maybe not. If you do showcase, someone said, go to other people's showcases. It's very important. You'll see how people handle themselves, what work, what feels authentic, what feels phony. Very instructive. But nothing is more frustrating than to get to a showcase 1 minute after it was introduced because somebody interrupted you on the way in, and you're looking at something and have no friggin' idea what you're looking at. But every bit of information that you would have put in the concert program, if it had been a concert, is a potential point of entry. It could be, I don't know that choreographer, but I love that composer. How interesting that, you know, on and on and on. There could be factors about the costuming that is not possible because you don't always do the costumes or the lights or the set in a showcase situation. That may be a point of contact. It's very important. You can do it on your laptop, have a piece of paper that you've printed out to distribute so that those questions, each of which is like an ember of interest, get answered.
Thank you, Ivan. Jerry.
Hi there. I've been a member of APAP for 34 years, and it's a wonderful organization. We have had a showcase room in the hotel, and we've showcased performers in the hotel as well as outside the hotel. So I'm really excited to see people like Crandall, who are showcase producers, so excited about the artists that she's showcasing, that she sees showcasing in the room. You know, to me, that's fantastic. And when you're showcasing, I think all the things that everyone has said is true. You know, you think about who you're showcasing and who your target presenter or audience is, and we've always gotten a lot out of it. And it may be as small an expectation as 2 dates or 1 date that somebody who I may have been talking to for a few years all of a sudden saw that person and said, hey, let's do that show. They were fantastic. So as everyone has said, it's the long game that counts. If you're going to invest the time and money to do your showcases and belong to APAP, think of it as the long game. You're not going to know everything at first. You know, gosh, it took us, years to try and figure out what's best, and we're still figuring it out. But that's all part of the fun. You know, that's what the journey is about. Enjoy it, and you will get work from it. I mean, that's the other part is, making money from it. Yeah, that's true. But the exposure that you get for your artists, and developing a successful career for them is really important. And these showcase producers work hard because it is takes many, many man hours to do it, and organizing and sound checks to get a room together. And I give Crandall and the other producers much credit for it. I congratulate them. They do a great job. And as far as showcasing outside the hotel, somebody was asking about that. Some people are very successful for it. It's been kind of hit and miss for us, depending on who the artist is. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm going to call on Quincy, and then we're going to go back to Chris and then David.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I still have the same two questions that I popped in the chat. And Crandall, you said that you would take this one, the do's and don'ts of a 2-minute pre-showcase speech. You're muted, Crandall.
I will preface it by saying I do not represent, I am not a doctor. I only play one on TV. Okay, so I'm giving you my personal opinion, but it is a personal opinion I feel really strongly about, and that is based on, I don't even know how many showcases, okay? 25 years of showcasing, like thousands of showcases. It's often information that needs to be imparted, okay? When you do a 15-minute showcase, you are a producer, you are a director, you are directing a 15-minute segment, you are directing a show. Every piece of that is mindful and purposeful, the same way that you would if you were directing a 2-hour play, a 2-hour musical. When you traditionally build a show, you have an intro, you have, your middle, your dynamics build as you go, and, using standard theatrical stuff as it, you're going to hit them with a big splashy thing at the end of Act 1, whatever, right? Okay. When you build a showcase set, you really need to think in the opposite direction. Okay. You have 90 to 180 seconds to grab the person sitting in the chair and make them want to stay in the room. A 2-minute pre-speech is too long, and it's not the right dynamic for a showcase. If that is information, you need to come out of the gate swinging with your strongest hit. Literally, like, hit that stage and explode and captivate, right? So if there is that information that needs to be imparted, think about imparting that information in a more creative way. Is there a way you can work that information into the showcase 3 or 4 minutes in? Is there a way that information could be imparted really dramatically? Like, could it be recorded and be a voiceover that happens in the dark while there's something beautiful on a video screen, and then suddenly the lights come up and there's your act ready to go? So you've actually directed that into being a piece of theater, not just a person going out and speaking. I would not ever recommend anybody to start a showcase with a 2-minute pre-speech. I think you could go out and do a very short number, do something very short, and then do that 2 minutes. But I would not encourage somebody. It's just not the right dynamic for showcasing. That's, again, my personal opinion, but I have seen it fall flat many, many, many times, and people get up and walk out. Because remember, you're only going to talk for 2 minutes. They don't know that. So they don't understand, they don't know what's coming next and when it's coming. You got to come out, boom, grab them the moment, and you build a dynamic. Grab them in the beginning. You can go a little more introspective in the middle. You can do, same thing applies to medleys. Everybody's always asking me about medleys. Like, dear God, I know that a lot of people need to get a lot of songs in, but we're not in a bar and nobody's putting 25 cents in the jukebox. Like, if you, I mean, not to be rude, but if you want to get a lot of pieces of songs in, start with a full song. Give them a little well thought out medley, end with a full song. They need to know who you are. And it's very hard in a medley. And think about the audience. The song starts, it's like Sweet Caroline. Wow, I love this song. I'm bopping along. Oop, now it's aha. Now it's whatever. Now it's what, like they can't even get into the music. So think always about the experience. Think of your showcase presenter as being your audience, being your experience, that an audience member, that's what a presenter needs. They need to walk out of the room after 15 minutes knowing exactly what experience their audience is going to have mentally, physically, emotionally, when they bring you to their theater. So, would you want to make sure that you craft an experience that really shows them who you are and is really representative of what a night with you would be. And probably 2 minutes of talking, somebody back me up here, is probably not the best way to start.
Yeah, thanks, Crandall. To give more context, we are doing dance showcases.
Yep.
So we don't have the opportunity to speak mid-showcase because we need
Then
to.
speak at the end.
Okay.
Then if you a lot of the dance companies do that. So at the end they leave 2 minutes and they say, whatever. And sometimes you can do something clever, like if it's a piece about, grief and this and whatever, you can make a slide. If there's video capability, you can make a slide that has some of that quote unquote narration on it. You could also do what I said and have that talking. It could be you live from a mic off stage, not seen, with beautiful, with beautiful lighting on the stage or no lighting, and something gorgeous on the video that's a compelling photo of the dancers. Just think about making it more theatrical. Like find a way to make it more theatrical.
You could also create some sort of mini, like a postcard sort of program or something like that, that's touching on the excerpts the audience is seeing in the showcase and your additional capabilities. That would
I
be
like for
a
dance,
takeaway
especially
piece.
to have a takeaway. I like to have something physical that's giving me information. And because I'd rather have that as a takeaway there rather than somebody's, doing a curtain speech.
And
And
on that
Mojo just put
takeaway,
something, Mojo just put something in the chat that says you have 1 10-second chance to make a first impression.
Yep.
So
I don't think it's 10. I think a presenter will give you 30 seconds, but you do need to, what Mojo's saying about get them, keep them, and then I'm going to go to Mama Rose. Leave them wanting more. Like when you take it to the end, give them what they asked for and leave them wanting more. Like, and remember that you don't have to get everything you do into 15 minutes.
I'm suddenly seeing Crandall as Mama Rose.
I will talk about that at some point.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I've only done that show like 7 times, like.
We have about 10 minutes remaining. I would want to make sure that we are hearing from as many voices as possible. I'm going to call on Caesar. Then I'm going to go to Chris and David. And then I'm going to ask for our panelists to make sure we go through some of the technical questions that have been put in the chat. So, Caesar.
Hello, how are you? And this has been very informative, and I thank you all for your input and suggestions. As far as the ads, is there a number of ads, a maximum for the ad, the $10 ads, JD, JG?
No, there's not. But it is. But just remember that it's a 1-to-1. So one showcase listing equals one performance. So if you plan on doing 100 performances, and please God, don't do that. You can have 100 performances, but
Okay.
yeah, just a one-to-one on that.
Yeah, because Caesar, it's not an ad. This is the listing that
Yeah.
appears in the list where people go through, and it literally says 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then 8:15. If you
Okay.
want an ad, it's a different thing. You talk to APAP about getting an ad. Listings are
Okay.
just literally like, I'm here in this room or this venue at this time.
Okay. And who do you know who I would talk to as far as an ad with APAP? Who I would contact, or
We
just
will drop that information in the chat for you to make sure that you can get in touch with the appropriate team member.
perfect? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris.
Yeah, no, I was responding to a comment in the chat. Emma mentioned, like this was really like very first conference ever. And for this field. And I would say, and we talked about this, I think last year during Road to Conference. I was on the conference committee last year. And one of the things that we've talked about is that APAP doesn't always have to be your very first conference. And it's sort of in conflict with my role as co-chair because we want as many people to come as possible because it is such a fantastic thing. We also want you to get the most out of it. And part of that in building your business is building your business strategically. And APAP may not be the best option for you to be your very first conference. It might be better and more strategic for you to try a conference that is closer. Like if you've never been to a performing arts conference, you've never showcased, you might be better off trying one that is local to you or more regional and building that foundation. I know sometimes when we talk to independent artists, they'll say, "Well, I want to go tackle the country," and I love the ambition, and you want that. Those are your goals, certainly as an artist and building your book of business. But also think about you have to build the foundation for your house, right? And so if you're an artist that does not have a lot of experience out in the field yet, and maybe you don't have a lot of presenter references yet or whatever, it might be best for you to build in on your local or regional base and build those presenters relationships and then continue to expand that. If you want to talk about concentric circles, then continue to build that out geographically. Maybe this year you do a local or regional conference, and the next year you come to APAP, or this year you come to APAP and don't showcase, but you just go observe for 4 days and then figure it out. And then go back next year in 2027 to showcase. So this year would be like an investment and research and go and see and learn and take notes. And then next year come back and do that while you potentially attend Midwest Arts Expo or Western Arts Alliance or North Carolina Arts Market or Arts Northwest or whatever, OAPN, which is Ohio Arts Presenters Network. There are a lot of these smaller conferences, which are a really great way to sort of build your skill set with it. So just kind of keep that in mind, even though we want everybody to come to APAP, we really, really do. But it is a good long way to invest wisely in your career.
I'm going to jump on real quick. Two logistic things, one for presenters and artists, and one for artists and managers. First one, presenter and presenters. Um, Everybody's going to tell you different ways to showcase. Oh, plan these ones, go to these ones, try this, everything else. You got to find the right thing that's going to work for you. And the one thing I encourage you to do is do research. Look at the showcase listings. Look at and say, okay, there are certain artists that you want to see because you're considering them. They're like an A-list you want to see. So you note when they're going to be and when they're going to, and then look at, okay, what's going on around them. Or maybe you say, okay, I'm going to take this block of time to go to these specific showcase artists, and then I'm going to wander around. I'm going to explore. I'm going to, so you got to find what's going to work for you. But encourage you to do both, but definitely take a look at it. Don't just go into it completely blind. Second piece, logistics for artists and agent managers is showcasing is wonderful. It's great. It's important. It's crucial. But you also have to have the materials to support the showcasing, and you need to have those materials ready and available for presenters, photos, electronic press kits, blurbs. I was having a conversation with a presenter earlier today about that. I love when an artist or an artist manager gives me three different types of blurbs: a three-line blurb that would work for a brochure, a two-paragraph blurb that I might use to tie into a press release, or a longer blurb that I can cut down and use information, or I want to convey the whole thing. All of these kind of support materials, you can do the greatest showcase in the world, but if I come to you as an artist or as an artist manager, as a presenter, and I say, great, let me look at your EPK, let me look at your marketing materials, and you can't give me that information, I'm not going to book your show. Because I need the marketing materials to be able to sell the product. And so it's crucial that as you're preparing for a conference, whether it's Midwest, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's APAP, everybody come to APAP. It's you need to have these materials available, because that's what's also going to help presenters make the decision once they've seen you showcase. Oh, I really want to look at this person, or I want to include them as part of my season. So do the due diligence, folks. That's the piece I got to offer right now.
Really valuable information to share with our members today. I'm going to call up Crandall. We are actually at time, and so we're going to go over just 5 minutes to make sure we close out. We want to hit a few points. There are some technical questions that we would love to address and make sure that we have on the record. So, Crandall. If you are talking, Crandall, you are muted.
I know I was muted. I know. On behalf of all the showcase producers, I'm going to hit a couple of things that I've been asked to hit here. Very important if you are considering showcasing, okay? You need to know realistically, the showcase producer needs to know that you are prepared to showcase, that you are prepared to showcase in the correct way. That means more than just having a good show. It means that you must be a good communicator. You must be providing the showcase producer with all of the things that they ask you to provide them with. And that may be before they decide if you're going to work with them in your room. It might be after. We need tech writers. We do not need your tech writer that tells us what kind of hospitality you want and what hotel rooms you want and all of that. So if you are a new artist and you don't have a quote unquote big tech writer, we don't need that. We need to know what we need your stage plot. We need to know what your backline requests are. We need to know anything that is crucial and important for your showcase. Please do not do things like say, my act is 5 people, and then 4 days before APAP, you decide that, you know what, I'd feel much better if I actually had that 4-piece horn section playing with me. And then you decide to show up to APAP with 9 people, not 5 people, and a 4-piece horn section that the producer didn't know was coming. I know that to you, it doesn't feel like that much of a difference, but on my inputs, on my channels, on my DIs, on what microphones are on my stage, whatever, it's a world of difference. And maybe if I'd known you were 9 people, you would have been in a different slot than the one you're in, because I can't achieve the changeover now because you've added that. Showcase appropriate tech writers. If you are a person that has a 16-piece band, but you are going to come to showcase with a 6-piece band, please do not send me the 16-piece band rider or stage plot. It doesn't help me. It gives me a heart attack, first off, right off the bat. And then I've got to draw a new one myself because it's not accurate. If you do not know what the terms, what are your, When do you have a Midwest route planned? If you don't know what the terms, what backline do you require are? If you don't know what those kind of terms mean, you may or may not be ready for showcasing and probably are not. But we are all here. You can call us and ask what those terms mean, but you need to have a solid understanding of what showcasing is. Showcasing is the worst case scenario ever for an artist. Everybody that knows me has heard me say this 100 times. It is take the person who has practiced and worked and crafted and created and poured their heart into what they do, asking them to pay us to do what they usually get paid to do, immediately give up all control on what is going to happen to them, and then have the self-esteem and wherewithal to get up on the stage and essentially be like, please like me enough to buy me while you're tapping away up there. It is the most vulnerable situation an artist will ever be in their career. It is the best thing you need is a showcasing producer who is a partner and is going to do everything they can to make you look, sound the best, but probably more importantly, is going to have you walking up onto that stage feeling you have a solid foundation underneath you, that what you need is there, and that you have someone who cares about your 15 minutes and is going to put everything they've got into making your 15 minutes good. The way that we can do that is advance, advance, advance. It's the most communication we can have beforehand. I send out long emails to people in multiple stages of emails. 90% of the people I send them to do not read them. And then they come, and then when I say, no, you cannot do 18 minutes, you bought 15 minutes, we have a schedule, they say, oh, well, I didn't think it would matter if I just went over a couple of minutes. This tells me you did not read your information that was sent to you, because there is a whole paragraph about that. I know it's a pain to get long emails and read them. I know it's a pain to do multiple phone calls. I do probably 4 to 6 phone calls with every act that showcases with me before they ever showcase. But I'm not doing it to be obnoxious. We're not giving you restrictions to be obnoxious. We're giving you restrictions so that we can give you what you need in the most way possible within the restrictions that we have to deal with to produce the showcases. No question is too stupid. No question is too much of a pain in the neck for the producer to ask. And the old adage of don't ask permission, ask forgiveness, get that out of your head. Like, for showcasing, ask permission. Most of us will do everything we can to make the answer to that permission be yes, if it comes beforehand. If it comes on site, we may not be able to. The other crucially important thing for everyone to remember is, as a showcasing artist, you are showcasing from the moment you walk in the front door of the Hilton until the moment you walk out. You don't know who's behind you in line. You don't know who's in the elevator with you. You don't know who's standing next to you. If you get there and you go up to registration and your registration is messed up and they don't have your room, and you go postal on the registration clerk, and the person standing behind you happens to be a venue booker that you were really looking forward to working with, they have just seen you go postal on some poor person trying to do their job. And in their mind, they're like, holy crap, what are they going to do when they get to my venue if they don't like something? Also, etiquette, showcase etiquette. If you are an on-stage person, and that part goes for every minute that you're in there. Treat everybody with respect from the moment that you come in the door. You want to be treated with respect, treat everyone else with respect. No matter if you get frustrated, go in the ladies' room, lock yourself in a stall or a men's room or a gender neutral room and close the door and scream, but don't take it out on the people around you. When you're on stage, if you don't have enough monitors, here, remember Goofus and Gallant from Highlights? Well, here's the Goofus part. You don't have enough monitors, and you say to the audience, well, I hope you're enjoying my showcase. I'm sure you'd be enjoying it a little bit more if I could actually hear myself in my monitors, but apparently the engineer doesn't realize what I'm asking for. Never do that. That kind of thing. Make your nice professional motion, point to your monitor, put your thumb up in the air. You can even say, like in your banter, la, 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 could I get a little more monitors, please? Blah, blah, blah. What you demonstrate from on that stage and in the lobby and in the coffee line and in the elevator and in the exhibit hall, but particularly what you demonstrate from on that stage. If I am a venue director and I see you treat the tech crew in the room you are in poorly, what that says to me is you will come to my venue and you will treat my tech crew poorly, and I'm probably not going to bring you because I am worried about that happening. So just remember, like, every minute you meet somebody could be an important connection, and grace, respect, and give us what we need to help you. All we want to do is help you. Like, that's all we live for, is to help you. We just need certain things to do it. Do not say you're not showing up for your sound check. Okay? Do not tell me you have a 9-person act and then tell me 3 weeks after you got your showcase sound check time that only your vocalist is available to come to the sound check. The band won't actually be coming, but the vocalist will. And then tell me, but you can go around and test everybody's mic. No, my engineer is going to mix 12 or 15 or 18 acts in one night. He needs his 25-minute sound check to get your sound mix right. If you come and you show up and you didn't bring your people for sound check, we are flying blind at that board when you go up there. And the chance that we're going to be able to get you close to perfect is really slim. So just remember, we want to help you. I am here. Mojo is here. I am here. Everybody knows. I put my phone number in the chat already. Everybody knows that anybody can call me at any time. I will talk to anybody about showcasing. How do I do this? What's the right etiquette? What should I do with this? Should I bring 4 costume changes? Should I do whatever? Any question. I am happy to help at any time. And I love that. Everybody knows that. I love talking to people. I love helping people take this journey. What I do not love is trying to run around putting out fires on site because of things that I didn't know about. Because as producers, we're not going to say die. Nobody's going to say to you, I'm sorry, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You can't go on stage. We are going to make it work, but it is at a high price. And most importantly, the high price that you cost us goes on to the acts coming after you. It goes on the other acts in the room. You're not just impacting me, you're impacting the nice act after you and the one after that. When you come to APAP, you are joining a community. When you go into a showcase room, you are joining a 4-day family. You are coming in and becoming part of a family unit. It's a very family type dynamic for that time. And everybody needs to work together as a family so that everyone is successful. Your best case scenario is to showcase in a beautifully crafted room that is well put together and has a great batch of showcases, because that's what the presenters love. They love a great room with a great group of acts. You're all individual, but you are one event, and you need to play well in the sandbox with everybody from the very beginning to the very end. Okay, now I'm done lecturing and all the producers telling me, make sure you say this, or we'll stop telling me that.
Thank you so much, Crandall. And thank you to all of our panelists for being here. And thank you to everyone that asked such great questions in the chat. This is useful information that everyone benefits from hearing your questions. As next steps, we'd like to remind you to please join APAP or renew your membership if you haven't done so, because APAP NYC is a members only conference. We have opportunities for participation assistance, so please apply for assistance to join the conference if that's required. register for the conference. We are in our current rate tier through the middle of November, so please register to take advantage of the current rates. Book your hotel with the New York Hilton Midtown. We've got until December 9th to book hotels at the conference rate. And continue to attend our Road to Conference sessions. Our next session is coming up on October 29th. In addition to those sessions, we have office hours. And office hours is a great opportunity to just come and sit in the room and ask questions of APAP staff and conference committee members as there are available. And as Crandall said, there are no stupid questions. Nothing is off the table, so we love to hear from you. Next slide, please, Robbie. And finally, we'd like to also remind you to ask a mentor. You've heard some great advice today. Some of our official, if you will, mentors are in the room. Rena Shagan, Gail Boyd, Ivan Sakota, Mario Garcia Durham may be with us as well. And there are a few more. I'm going to ask my colleagues to drop that link in the chat. Mentor opportunities are for APAP members. If you complete the JOT form, a mentor will be in touch with you to talk to you to answer your questions you have leading up to the conference. And lastly, please fill out today's survey. And thank you everyone for sticking with us. We went a little bit over, but we've enjoyed being with you all. And thank you. And we will see you again on the road to conference. Take care.